brought up your parents a bit. Like, how was your parents, influence on you growing up and that structure and stuff like that as well?
I was mainly raised with my mom and my grandma, and shoot, my mom and my, which is more of a matriarchal family. It was more like women. Because my
Mm,
grandmother migrated here from Arkansas, and she brought her 10 brothers and sisters with her,
mm,
and they only had two brothers, but it was 8 women who were not playing games. They were really tough. And my grandmother owned a restaurant in the middle of Park Hill, 28th and Fairfax, called A&M Fish Market.
yeah.
So that was before the Bloods and Crips even started. And really, like a lot of the Bloods, they lived next door to her restaurant on Fairfax.
Mm,
So I would always be around them and see Bloods and see Crips and see her breaking up fights. And, my grandmother was a very tough woman. She worked 15 hours a day. She brought that Southern work ethic and
yeah.
attitude with her. My mom was a young single mom. She made her mistakes thugging in her 20s.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you see your mom and your parents in their 20s and early 30s, they seem way older. But now that
Right.
I'm in my, I'm as old as I am. My mom and my dad were just babies to me at the time. Now, at the age I am, my dad had his struggles when I went to California. He was trying to be a pimp, and maybe he was. I don't know. He said he was. I'm not saying he was trying, but he was
Right.
pimping, fighting, and I be, when I was out there, he came to my aunt's once because I was mainly staying with my aunts and my cousins, and we'd be
Mm.
on MacArthur Boulevard in Oakland, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, or
Oh, okay. Yeah.
International or something, stealing fruit out of people's backyards or at Lake Merritt, hanging
Yeah.
out. It's 3 in the morning. And he came to my aunt's once and his face was busted and his hands was busted. So he was in California doing whatever. So he couldn't really raise me. So even if
Mm,
I did stay in California with him, he didn't have the stability. My mom had her struggles, so I started living with my grandmother. Now my mom's a successful realtor.
that's dope.
So he
Yeah.
doesn't really
Yeah.
talk about this stuff and all that. And I don't really like putting her business out there all that
Right.
much. My dad just passed away. He was a street minister,
My
you know.
condolences. Yeah.
But everybody knows Minister George Roberts. Rest in peace to Minister George Roberts.
Yeah.
And he was a real big influence on me because he was actually the one in jail when I was in jail telling me, man, you gotta change your life, brother. You gotta
Yeah.
give your life to Christ. And even though I'm not a religious person, I do believe in Jesus, though.
Yeah.
And I study my
Feel
word,
that.
and
Yeah.
I try to model myself after people like Jesus Christ, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King.
Mm, yeah.
People who carry themselves in a more revolutionary stance
Right.
versus being a gangster. No disrespect to the gangsters. If that's where you at, that's where you
Yeah.
at. Just I did that already.
Right. Right.
I don't want to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. You're on a new path. Oh, I respect it. Get back into your story. So you ended up going to prison, right? You said 7 years,
No, I
or
did. I did a little over 10 years,
okay.
but my last sentence was a 7 year sentence.
Okay.
Yeah. So
W- What was that experience like as a whole? I know you said initially like you were banging on people, people were banging on you, but as time went on, and even in the documentary, like it seems like you were growing, and you were talking about Martin Luther King as an influence and like how you wanted to get out and kind of change. So what was like that whole, I suppose, process while you were in jail or prison, and like how it all went to you eventually coming out and being more of a revolutionist, I suppose, if
yeah,
if you call it that.
a revolutionary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So man, when I first said that I wasn't banging anymore, man, everybody laughed at me. They were cracking up, like, yeah, right, because there were Bloods and Crips who, because they used to call me Showbiz or Biz. That was my
Mm,
gang name, and they didn't even know my real name. My real name's Terrance. They
right.
thought my real name was just the funniest thing in the world, right? And I'm like, what's so funny about my name, bro? Like, and
Yeah.
see, that's the problem. And I started realizing they fell in love with the character of Showbiz. Because no matter how hard or whatever, bro, I've been around the hardest Crips and Bloods. I've worked in Watts, Compton, Denver, been around Bloods and Crips, the sorriest and the
Yeah.
toughest. Man, a lot of that is just a lot of anger,
Mm,
a lot of trauma and drama and pain if somebody's really acting like that. That's
yeah.
when the hardest Crips and Bloods get a chance. I've seen them get a contract or get a chance at life, and they be the smartest ones in the room.
Right, right, right.